So many good things occurred at this site. And those people that worked there took great pride in the jobs that they did. And they're the ones I feel for. They were the losers. I'm a lifelong resident of Miamisburg here. Normal kid. We would go uptown every Saturday. I remember my dad would give me $1. The neighborhood kids would all walk up to the Plaza Theater, and on the way there we would stop at the Hamburger Wagon and then go to the Plaza Theater. It was a fun place to grow up. About 1947 is when they started working on building the mound.
I grew up on Old Main Street, which is the base of the hill. When you are in Miamisburg, you can look up and you see the mound. It sits on top of the community. And I grew up at the base of that, across the street from the canal.
We lived at the south end of town, and I remember my neighborhood friends and I, every Saturday we would climb the hill and go up to the fence line where the guards would run us off. I always joked that those guards didn't know that the boy they were running off was the person that was going to be handed the deed to the facility one of these days. In 1958, as a junior at Miamisburg High School, I was selected to go to Buckeye Boys State. I knew nothing about government, So when I was selected to go to Boys State, for 9 days we lived government. I was so revved up about wanting to be involved in government, I told my classmates, one day I'm going to be mayor of Miamisburg. I was a member of City Council, 1988 to 1992. And then my wife told me, she says, why don't you go after your dream? When people thank me for my service, I always say, well, you better thank my wife because she made it possible.
The chance of your being hurt by an atomic bomb is slight, but since there is a chance, you must know how to protect yourself.
The Mound facility, it was of course as a kid I didn't know too much about it. Later years when I worked for the Miamisburg News, I did a little bit more digging. It came out that they were building the trigger device for the atomic bomb. Our neighbors worked there. People in town more or less accepted it. We really didn't know what was going on. It was very secret.
Everybody was so secretive. I don't know, being a girl, if I ever knew what they did up there. But my mother babysitted for a woman that worked up there. She wouldn't tell you if she ate lunch there.
I know when I took over as mayor, we were making about $1.8 million a year off the site, just in taxes. They were good to the community. When the Monsanto company was the first contractor that came in, they were sharing things with the school district, providing telescopes and stuff like that. So they were a good corporate citizen. They did what they did, and we did what a normal city would do. I was at the National League of Cities as mayor-elect, and on December 16th, 2 weeks before I was become the mayor, city manager at the time, he said, "I just been called to the Mound, and they announced that they're closing the facility." The country was downsizing on nuclear weapons at that time. For the first 2 years, we fought very hard to keep the facility as it was. Our employees at the site, and on Fridays, they would come to this room here. In their terms, this was the war room where they were going to keep the site open.
Clinton opened up the site and declassified all the information, all the contamination that the Mound had. He sent Secretary O'Leary to the site to talk to people and let them know that the information was there and we could look at it if we wanted to.
The federal government, they estimated it was going to be $40 million cleanup, but they weren't going to fund it. So we had to go back to Washington. The federal government did not know how to reach local governments. They just never had to do that. They did what they wanted. And for local government to get their point across, you had to be there. Every 6 weeks, I believe it was, we were in Washington, D.C. Tony Hall was our congressman when it started. Mike Turner's our congressman now. Both of them worked very hard on our behalf. We had to make things happen.
My friend kept saying, "You're the only one that understands the medical part of it." And so she says, "We've already started an organization and you're going to have to be president." So I was. One time we had a meeting, we were always pulling something on them. If you're a nurse, you know that they have this powder you can put on your hands to see if you clean your hands good. Well, we had some of that powder and we took it with us to this meeting, and we got in and we started mingling. And we had this powder in the hands, it's not visible to the naked eye. And we patted people on the shoulder, we patted their backs, we shook their hands. And after we got through, and it was my turn to talk, because I was going to get a chance to talk, I got up and said, "You know, the community's just concerned about the fact that we're getting contaminated. You can't smell it, you can't see it. We don't know, unless we research, if what we're getting contaminated with." But I said, "All of you have been contaminated today, and you don't know it. I wonder how you're going to feel." And of course, they got nervous because they didn't know what I'd contaminated them with. So we turned off the lights and got a black light, and they were mad. "Well, that isn't very nice." I said, "No, it's not very nice, is it? It's not good for you to have to go through that."
There was a total of over $1 billion spent of taxpayers' money to clean up this site to industrial standards. And that took 18 years. We found out there was more chemicals up there than we even knew about. Long term, those chemicals would have caused environmental problems for our community.